Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here, and I've got another Wednesday devotional for you. Again, starting with a reading from C.S. Lewis. This topic's going to be the same as last week. It's a continuation of humility, but the excerpt today is from a really interesting book. C.S. Lewis wrote a kind of an imagined discourse between two demons called the Screwtape Letters. So the elder demon is trying to teach the junior demon how to corrupt a human soul, how to work against us, and this is his lesson on how to use humility against us. Your patient has become humble. Have you drawn his attention to the fact? All virtues are less formidable to us once the man is aware that he has them, but this is especially true of humility. Catch him at the moment when he's really poor in spirit, and smuggle into his mind the gratifying reflection, "By Jove, I'm being humble." Almost immediately, pride at his own humility will appear. If he awakes to the danger and tries to smother this new form of pride, make him proud of his attempt, and so on through as many stages as you please. Don't try this for too long, for fear you'll awake his sense of humor and proportion, and he will just laugh at you and go to bed. But there are other profitable ways of fixing his attention on the virtue of humility. By this virtue, as by all others, our enemy wants to turn the man's attention away from himself and to the man's neighbors. So let him think of it not as self-forgetfulness, but as a certain kind of opinion, namely a low opinion of his own talents and character. By this method, thousands of humans have been brought to think that humility means pretty women trying to believe that they're ugly, and clever men trying to believe that they're fools. And since what they're trying to believe is manifest nonsense, they cannot succeed in believing it, and we have the chance of keeping their minds endlessly revolving on themselves in an effort to achieve the impossible. So what you think about that? It's really interesting to hear kind of the other side of the coin, as it were, the other side of the fence, looking at the virtues from a perspective of trying to strip them away from us, and if that can't be done, trying to turn them against us. And it's interesting to me to see how easily that might be accomplished, because humility, like we talked about last week, true humility really has to be a letting go of yourself, letting go of pride, letting go of self-assessment, letting go of a need to define yourself in a social hierarchy, letting go of a need to let others give you a sense of value or worth. Letting go of all that so that God can do that. So that God can tell you who you really are. And yet, humility, as we so often misconceive it, as the demons want us to conceive of it, is this sense of lowering our own self-worth, of debasing ourselves, of forgetting the real and true value of the talents and abilities and things that we can do. It's taking all that and saying, it's not worth very much. And so we think that humility is thinking little of ourselves, thinking lowly of ourselves, when really humility is thinking little of ourselves, in the sense of not thinking about ourselves very much at all. Interesting how easily that can get twisted. And we think so much about ourselves, but because we think we're, keeping our pride down, that we've somehow achieved something and we've moved forward, when really what we've done is we've just started running in endless mental circles around ourselves. And again, that's not the point. That's not the goal. That's not what God wants for us. God doesn't want our attention endlessly turned inward, turned toward the self. God wants our attention outward. God wants us to be able to focus on God and on others, on serving those around us, not on ourselves and on how we measure up, where we belong, how we fit into our social hierarchies. I think that's a really interesting thing for us to ponder and to consider, and hopefully to do so without developing false humility. It's hard to do, but saints, I know that awareness is the first step, and I will be praying for you as you continue to try to take other steps. Hope you'll continue to pray for me, and hope you're doing well this week, saints. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.